calling to order the Cumberland County Salary Board. And we will begin with, if everyone would mind, if we would take a moment of silence to honor our colleague that passed suddenly, Jimmy Moore. And I'll just ask if we could do this at the beginning of the meeting. So please just silence your phones and we'll take a moment of silence. Thank you all very much. We send our sincere condolences out to the Moore family. We'll begin with the roll call, please, for the Salary Board. Desiree.
Commissioner Niederer.
I am here.
Commissioner Fasci.
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger. Present. Controller Wickham.
Here.
All right. Is there any public comment that anyone would like to make at the Salary Board? Desiree, is there anyone, if there's anyone online and you'd like to make a public comment at this time, please use the raise your hand feature. Has anyone indicated?
No requests at this time.
Okay. Then we will move on into the approval of the minutes.
I'll move to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next up is the Salary Board actions.
I'll make a motion to approve all the salary board actions as presented.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any other business to come before the Salary Board at this time?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Al. We are adjourned from the Salary Board. We will go into the Board of Commissioners meeting and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll begin with the roll call. Please, Desiree.
Commissioner Niederer.
I am here.
Commissioner Fasci.
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Next up is the section for public comment on non-agenda items. If anyone online would like to make a public comment, please use the raise your hand feature.
No requests at this time.
None, thank you. Okay, anyone in the room? I think we're here for other purposes, which always, as I say, is the best part of the meeting, and we will go right into those. We have a proclamation, and I believe my colleague Commissioner Fasci is going to announce that.
So good morning, everyone. It is my honor and my privilege to deliver a proclamation on behalf of the Board of Commissioners recognizing April 6th to the 12th as Crime Victims' Rights Week. We have a proclamation here. We have Adrian Vaughn from our Victims' Rights Group here to accept that proclamation. So I'll go ahead and read it. Whereas the Cumberland County Commissioners hereby recognize the importance of victims' rights in Cumberland County with the 24th Annual Crime Victims' Rights Rally and Walk. And whereas, in conjunction with the National Crime Victims Week, the county highlights the national theme, kinship, connecting and healing, a call to action recognizing that shared humanity should be at the center of supporting all survivors and victims of crime. And whereas kinship represents a connection with survivors that fosters vital relationships to services, rights, and healing, which serves as the foundation for victim advocacy. And whereas last year, the Cumberland County Victim Services Division of the District Attorney's Office assisted 5,061 victims, providing crucial support and advocacy to victims and witnesses of crime as they navigated the criminal justice system. And whereas we honor the dedication of all the victims advocates who are committed to helping individuals recover from the physical, emotional, and financial impact of crime, ensuring that all victims' rights are upheld. Now, therefore, the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims April 6th to the 12th National Crime Victims' Rights Week in Cumberland County. And it is presented on this 10th day of April 2025. I'm going to come up and
we have the district attorney here as well.
yes, please.
Sean? Think I have range nice.
Yes.
So I will give this to you.
Thank you.
Can we hit those lights then? And pull together. All right. I'm gonna hit these lights too.
We look better dark, apparently.
A little closer. Closer. So professional.
I know, I need. Yeah.
Let's see your picture.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I'm so happy. Would you like to say a few words, Sean or Adrian?
Go
I
ahead.
just, this is what we do, serving victims. And it's, unfortunate that we have to have a week to remember about victims. I just went through a trial with a man who had been shot through the head. A miracle that he lived. And just watching him yesterday after we got a guilty verdict and just the relief on his face and through his whole body and stuff, you just felt for him and the service that our victim service unit, Adrian, the service that you provided during that particular trial and your staff, what I see you guys do every day. Helping victims is really to be applauded. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
both
Thank
very
you.
much for all you do. All right, but before we put everything back together, we can just do this standing. We have some employee recognition, which is always fantastic. And we are recognizing Christopher Kaminsky from Public Safety for 20 years of service. So Chris, if you'd like to come up, and Bob and Mike or whomever is from your team.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Chris. So proud of you. Thanks. We have a little token here.
All right.
You're with the bosses, so we'll get a few pictures and.
Yes, please. Can everybody move up a little bit closer? Thank you, that's much better. Great, thank you.
I just wanted to say a few words quickly.
Please,
Obviously, we're here because Chris has been serving for 20 years. Over that period of time, he's had a lot of different roles. He's functioned as a trainer, as an assistant supervisor. He's been a very big asset to our organization. He spent a majority of that time on one of our night shifts on the D team, which is 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., which I think sort of adds some difficulty to life at times, but Chris has never complained about that. And we certainly need good people working during those hours. Emergencies don't stop. When he's not working for us, he's working as an assistant chief at the Upper Allen Township Fire Department. He's also doing a lot of service, collecting drinks and delivering them during the summer to all the emergency services organizations to make sure that we're taking care of our staff. So, Chris, congratulations and thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
And if you can ask Shannon Sprague and Kim Pinzon to come up and we'll move into your next segment.
Can we do a picture with Amber too quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Be in front of the camera this way.
All right.
Thank you.
You didn't know you were in for this.
I did. I knew there was a big agenda.
I didn't know I had to go.
I am tired.
Probably the good side.
All right.
Oh,
Forward,
okay.
everybody.
Forward.
Nice. Give me one more big smile. Good.
All right. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So they're here for the proclamation.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll go right into that. So next up, we do have a proclamation recognizing April 13th through 19th as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And I'll read that. Whereas emergencies can happen at any time requiring the immediate assistance of law enforcement, fire, or emergency medical services. In 2024, our 911 telecommunicators answered more than 275,000 calls, providing support to our residents and first responders. And whereas our 911 telecommunicators serve as the first point of contact for our residents and visitors in times of emergency, making their role essential to the community's safety and well-being. And whereas answering the call in 10 seconds or less, our public safety telecommunicators establish a vital link connecting residents and first responders to the scene, dispatching assistance to our residents efficiently and effectively. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are critical in improving the chances of survival rates for patients who are experiencing sudden cardiac arrest by recognizing the need for CPR and other life-saving interventions prior to EMS arrival. And whereas through the 4-Minute City program, Cumberland County played a vital role in the nation's first life saved when our telecommunicators dispatched a volunteer equipped with an Avive connected AED to a resident experiencing cardiac arrest. Now, therefore, the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners hereby declares April 13th through 19th, 2025, National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week in honor of the tireless dedication and professionalism of our 911 operators who are integral to the safety and security of our communities. Presented this day on the 10th of April, 2025. Thank you, folks. 275,000 calls. That is crazy.
So commissioners, a little bit later in your agenda, you have a request to receive donations of almost $4,000 from organizations in the community. Those donations were obtained by these three people who have worked hard to recognize their colleagues. We want to not only thank the people from the community that have made those donations, but these folks that have worked hard to build that event next week.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Formal? Oh, yeah, we need.
Do we need to step forward again?
Yes, yes, please.
Some light on the
Quick
face.
learners.
Okay, great, thank you.
Perfect. All right, I believe that takes us up to the consent agenda. Stacey?
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. So the consent agenda is a list of routine items that do not appear to be controversial in nature and which also do not seem to require any additional discussion. If discussion is desired on any particular item, which would be agenda items 7 through 12, now would be the time to request it be removed from the consent agenda. Hearing none and seeing none, commissioners, I would request approval of the consent agenda.
I'll move to approve. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. 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 Thank you.
So that takes us to the regular agenda, which is a list of non-routine items that will be discussed and may be acted upon individually. We'll start with agenda item 13. We have Steve O'Donnell from Southampton Township, who is here to discuss and seek approval of a letter of support regarding Southampton Township's DCNR Community Conservation Partnerships Program application.
We are requesting a letter of support. We had started a new park along Baltimore Road in front of Southwood Development, which is the newest development in Shippensburg in Southampton Township. We have that park under construction. All the infrastructure is done. We have RFPs out for paving of parking lots and pavilion and restroom facilities. And the request that we're asking for is an ADA outdoor equipment facility for that community. So that's basically what we're trying to do, is make a 100% compliant ADA park in Southampton Township.
That's wonderful. I know they have that in Upper Allen, as has unveiled an ADA park as well. So
I will move to approve.
Second.
it's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioners. Thank you, Steve. That takes us then to agenda item 14. We have Alexander Arrigo from GMS Management to discuss and seek approval, a letter of support regarding Shippensburg Township's DCNR Community Conservation Partnerships Program application.
Hi, good morning. Shippensburg Township is looking to receive a letter of support from the commissioners for the Shippensburg Township Master Park Plan. The township is looking to redo its master park plan for the park since it hasn't been one hasn't been done since the mid 1990s, and requesting $35,000 from DCNR for a $70,000 project.
Any questions?
No, but I will move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Alexander. That takes us then to agenda item 15. We have Mary Kuna to discuss the Cumberland County 5-year consolidated plan and 2025 annual plan for housing and community development for the Cumberland County Housing Redevelopment Authorities. Morning, Mary.
Good morning. So the county and Carlisle Borough received funding directly from HUD in the form of community development block grant money and also home funds. And so one of the requirements with the Department of Housing and Urban Development is that you basically do a 5-year plan. And so we have hit the time period to do that 5-year plan. So the county and Carlisle Borough actually decided jointly to get a consultant and to do those plans in parallel, essentially, because it just makes sense if you're going to look at Carlisle Borough and their needs. Theoretically, you should be looking at the county's needs as well. They cross-pollinate, essentially. So we worked with Michael Baker as the consultant, and Michael Baker conducted a number of focus groups, did a large community survey. They hosted a housing summit. They also did 2 public meetings and 2 public hearings to gather input on that 5-year consolidated plan. And so I think we have a pretty solid plan that talks about the objectives of the county. And there are things that should seem very familiar to all of you. Everything came back from all of those surveys and all of those discussions with, again, focused on investing in home ownership, focused on housing rehabilitation for existing housing stock, to promote additional housing development, to really focus on some codes enforcement in our communities, to offer public services and get funding for public facilities. So nothing really shocking to anybody. But so that 5-year plan, we would be looking for your approval. That also aligns with an annual plan that you have to do for HUD. So that annual plan is a little bit different. So essentially you're approving a plan with, this is our annual plan that meets those same type of, here's the investment areas. You will approve that plan, and then what we'll do is come back and fill in the gaps, because you almost have to approve these are our areas in our annual plan. We put that together and adopt it, but then we get notified timeline-wise after the fact by HUD of what money you actually receive. And that's when you can actually take all of the applications the authority has received for funding and narrow those down into specifically, here's how much each one gets, and insert that into the plan. But you're essentially approving a plan with, here's our target areas. So that's what we would be looking for approval on. The timeline is all of these are due to HUD on May 15th. Now we're held to that May 15th date. As a county, as Carlisle Borough, you're held to May 15th. That, again, might change depending on what happens at HUD, but we're still held to that date unless they say otherwise. So our goal, and Michael Baker's goal, was to go to the May 15th, to stick to that plan, to stick to what's required. And if something happens to change at the federal level, we'll let everyone know. For example, last year, the county wasn't informed for about almost until July, end of July or August, of what you were receiving. There was a delay at HUD. So that may happen again this year, but they still would like you to be ready for May 15th. So our goal is to be ready for May 15th if everything is working as it should.
Questions for Mary?
I don't have any.
I don't either.
Entertain a motion.
I will move to approve.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, commissioners. And I'm going to hold my thanks for Mary because Mary is also here to discuss the next agenda item, which is the PA-DCED Emergency Solutions Grant Acceptance.
Okay, so this is really an annual grant that the county applies for. And as in previous years, we submitted an application on behalf of the county, and the county did receive notice of an award. So you would be basically looking to adopt the grant agreement for this with DCED. These are federal funds that go to DCED and then will come directly to the county from them. So essentially the county was awarded $240,000. These are funds that are focused essentially on entirely unhoused populations. So think emergency shelters, rapid rehousing, street outreach, homeless prevention. So those would be the targets, and the three agencies that were partners to the application and would be receiving funding would be Safe Harbor, Community Cares, and Domestic Violence Services. So you would be approving the grant agreement with DCED for this $240,000.
Mary, the only question I had, the decrease in the award, is were they just decreased across the board, or was there any indication that our application specifically was lower for some reason?
No, they were decreased across the board. It seems like this program is decreased slightly every year. There's never really enough funding in it for some reason. And I don't know if that's just at the federal level, but the state of Pennsylvania just receives less. But this is one of those programs that's been consistently a bit lower every single year that we apply.
Well, the need goes up. That's disappointing, but thank you. Entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Is this one of the grants, Angela, that we're looking for DCED to shoot us that email so we can sign it right away?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And we,
I believe it is pending in your portal at this time.
okay, thank you. I will check that as soon as we're done.
Yep.
All right.
Likewise.
Thank you, commissioners. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Okay, that takes us to agenda item 17, and we have Kirk Stoner here to discuss the bid results and recommendations to award the electronics recycling project. Take it away, Kirk.
Yeah, good morning, commissioners. Pinch hitting for Justin today. Today's our household hazardous waste event. So in one short hour, we'll be opening up.
I saw him out there.
Good. So if anybody wants to help out,
I'll be at 2:30.
okay, good. We do have raincoats. So it's never bad weather, it's just bad clothing. We have raincoats available for you if you'd like to come out. But we'll be out there till 5 o'clock, expecting 360 some residents to come through the operation today. Justin runs a smooth ship, so we're really looking forward. Even though it's raining, we're gonna have a good day. So pinch hitting today on the electronics recycling contract. So our current contract expires April 30th. We were notified in January by Sun King that they didn't want to renew their contract with us. They were our existing vendor. We put out an RFP for two types of responses. One would be a manufacturer supported program. The other would be a non-manufacturer supported program. So the difference between those simply is the manufacturer supported program, they cover all the costs of recycling. However, we're stuck with the operational costs of our operation, and we can't charge fees to cover those operational costs. So there are costs that would come back on Cumberland County under that scenario. While our residents would enjoy free recycling, they wouldn't have any costs when they go there. The county would be absorbing those costs and having to pay for those costs, not through fees, but through either our recycling reserve or other county funds. On the non-manufacturer supported program, that's currently what we're operating under now. We received proposals for that as well. So we received 7 proposals, 2 were for manufacturer supported program, 5 were for the non-manufacturer supported program. We shared these with our recycling waste board. They evaluated those. The Recycling Waste Board recommended sticking with the non-manufacturer supported program. That program has been successful. As you've seen, that we've really had no general fund dollars going into the program, being 100% supported by those fees. Also, our residents are used to that program. I think the authorities' one concern was that if we switch to a manufacturer-supported program and have a period where there's no fees, that could change in the course of a year or in the course of several months, where the manufacturer could withdraw and no longer offer support. Then we're back to a pay model. And we believe switching back and forth between the two can be very confusing for our residents and unpredictable for us as trying to offer that service and the cost of the county. So the 5 that we received for the manufacturer-supported program, we put in the RFP a little bit of expansion of services too. So we put in that we want to accept small freon-containing devices, light bulbs, which we'll see today at our event, and also some batteries. So we put that in the RFP. Of all the responses, we had 2 vendors that were responsive to everything that needed the certifications that were in place, and also were able to take care of the product mix that we're looking at currently. The board looked at the pricing. We're recommending to go with ReWorld. ReWorld offered us an opportunity to expand our services with some new opportunities, but also keep our price at 50 cents per pound. So it was a really great opportunity. The board had recommended to do 1-year agreement with ReWorld, and then we'll look and see how things are going at the end of that term with options to renew that. The good part for our residents is there's no increase in price, but there is an increase in service. That a lot of the material that we're receiving today as part of our household hazardous waste, you won't have to wait for an event that's 4 times a year. You'll be able to come over on a regular basis for light bulbs. Small freon-containing devices is a new area that we haven't done, but also then there's batteries too that we're accepting today to be able to do on a regular basis.
That's great. This event, people love it. And it's a fabulous service that we provide. So thanks.
One question, Kurt. You guys have done a fantastic job with this. And from all accounts, Sun King was a very good vendor. And do we have any idea on why they chose to exit this market?
We don't, so we talked to them, they just indicated that they were exiting. We weren't sure that they were going to submit a proposal, and then they did it late in the process, but it still came in at the end. We really didn't get any reasons of why. Their pricing wasn't that drastically different from what we had in place before. But ReWorld came in and offered, really a better price and also better service too, because they had some of the service expansions that Sun King wasn't able to cover for it. Thank you.
I will move to approve.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt. Have fun today with the ugly raincoat.
See everyone out there.
I brought my own.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. That takes us then to agenda item 18, which is the start of the remaining contracts and grants. And I'll ask Angela Smyser to cover those for us.
Thank you, Stacy. Good morning, everybody. I'll start by calling on Jamie Ryber to discuss the contract for children and youth services. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning. This is for International Service Center. They are a interpretation and translation service. We are adding them to our mix. We do already have a provider that does this for us. However, this is coming in at a lower cost than the one that we currently have. However, they do not have the ability to provide services on an emergency basis like we sometimes need. So we do still need to remain in a contract with the other provider, but we are hoping to use this one to lower our cost on document translation and more of the planned situations where we need an interpreter and hopefully lower our costs there.
Any questions for Jamie?
I don't have any either. Entertain a motion.
I will move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. That takes us to agenda item 19, and I will call on Eric Radnovich to discuss a contract for the District Attorney's Office FID. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, commissioners. The contract before you is a contract for Solutions for Quality Management. It is for $120,000. It is our laboratory quality assurance and it's our contract for our quality assurance manager for the laboratory.
Any questions for Eric?
No, I don't have any. We'll entertain
I
a
will
motion.
move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Eric.
And thank you, commissioners.
Thanks, Eric.
Great, that takes us to agenda item 20, and I will call on Brent Dern to discuss a grant acceptance for facilities.
Yeah, good morning, commissioners. As you know, at the end of September last year, we applied for the DCED LSA grant. This is a local share account grant. The grant is a distribution of gaming revenues to support projects of public interest. Our application was in the amount of 200,000, and it was to repair and replace the slate roof here at the courthouse. Happy to report that our application was accepted, and I'm here asking for your approval to accept that grant. And I will say, I got to give credit to Katie Zimmerman. Katie and I worked together on this, but she did all the heavy lifting and deserves the credit.
It's a team effort. Thank you. And this is great because I think this is the first grant that we've received as the board making the application on behalf. I know that we have departments all across the county that obtain grants. And the delegation really all pulled together to make sure that they could support this on behalf of the county. So we extend a thank you to all of our elected officials in Cumberland County that serve at the state level in helping to get us these much needed funds.
Yes.
So entertain a motion.
I will move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And Brent is also going to be discussing a capital project request as agenda item 21.
Yeah, so this request is to transfer a Ford Transit van, a 2018 Ford Transit van from the Office of Aging to Facilities in the amount of $14,950. We'll be replacing a 2011 Ford Explorer that has 146,000 miles that was recycled to us from the Sheriff's Department. Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
The Explorer, although it works, is not the best of vehicles for us. We struggle we can only carry so many tools, we can only carry so many parts, we can only carry so much material in that vehicle. It's hard to get ladders in it, you get the idea. This transit van was designed for the group at Office of Aging, the chore group. It has toolboxes, it has shelving, it has ladder racks, and is really suited for what we could use and what we need. It'll create efficiencies within our department, and I'm asking for your approval to transfer that van to our department.
Brent, I get the impression that facilities is like the smallest child in a family of three where things get passed down and passed down. But, you know, at one point it becomes a collector's item. So, you know, you've gotten a good one here. Thank you. Is there any other questions? Or
No, I will move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. Moving on to agenda item 22, I will call on Derek Goodhart to discuss the contract for human resources. Good morning, Derek.
Good morning, Commissioners. The contract before you this morning is with Occupational Health Center, Concentra. They provide pre-employment medical screening for our employees in the prison, public safety, domestic relations, and the Sheriff's Office. Providers of these services that are provided through Concentra typically will not engage in a contract, and therefore pricing for those services will vary. We have preferred to contract with Concentra to lock in our rates for our most utilized services of PPD, hearing tests, chest x-rays, physicals, and T-spots. This contract provides a 5% increase in those services for a period of 2 years, and it locks in those rates for that 2-year period.
Any questions for Derek?
I move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Derek.
Thank you,
Derek,
Commissioner.
thank you. And thank you for your work on the vacant position policy that was approved recently. I didn't get a chance to thank you in person, but that's going to be helpful to how we manage our staffing across the county.
Great. Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioner.
All right, that takes us to agenda item 23, and I will call on Elizabeth Grant to discuss a contract addendum for planning. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning. Before you, we have a contract addendum for the Barracks Dairy Heavy Use Area project that was funded through our countywide action plan and NIFWIF funding. And it is for an increase of $23,230.98, which will provide for the necessary concrete walkway to allow for ingress and egress from the heavy use area due to wet site conditions to prevent soil erosion and loss. And the increase is able to be accommodated within our grant budget.
Any questions of Elizabeth?
No, and I will move to approve.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
All right, that takes us to the public safety portion of the agenda. I'll call on Bob Shively to first discuss 2 contracts.
Okay, we'll start with requesting your approval for submission to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Office of State Fire Commissioner for renewal of the participating department recognition certification. This will be the 3-year certification renewal for the hazmat team, recognizes organizations that support, promote, and encourage emergency response personnel to certify within the State Fire Commissioner Certification Program. It does demonstrate nationally recognized and sanctioned professional qualification standards. There's no cost, but it's a 3-year certification program, and that's a renewal.
I have no questions of Bob. Does anyone?
No, but I think we can do the.
Also, yeah, okay.
The second one is with Eaton Corporation. It's approval of a temporary 4-month maintenance agreement for the 911 uninterrupted power supply equipment. That is until all of the upgrade work can be completed. The extension is from March 20th through July 19th of 2025. Total cost is $2,006, and that is 911 uniform fund eligible.
All right.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, and next Bob will discuss a resolution.
Okay, requesting approval of resolution 2025-6, which is the intergovernmental agreement for Cumberland County to join the regional South Central Intercounty Communications Network, SCIC Net. It's the regional radio system with Adams, Dauphin, Franklin, and would include now Cumberland County. This was previously approved to join by the SCIC Net Executive Committee, but this is the legal governance to finalize the partnership.
Any questions for Bob on that?
No, Bob, I just appreciate you continuing to look at these regional solutions that can be cost saving for everyone in the region and help for a continuity of services across the county line. So thank you very much for those efforts. Are there any other questions or anything for Bob at this?
No, it's part of wrapping up the P25 project. And I will move to approve.
So.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, and one last item.
That moves us into the next piece of that, which with our membership now, we need to appoint a Cumberland County representative for the SCIC Net Executive Board. And we're requesting appointment of Mike Snyder to be our representative.
Okay. Fine candidate.
I will move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, and I lied to you, Bob, you do have one more.
Yeah, it's a long one.
And our final item, as Mike alluded to earlier, we're requesting consideration and approval to accept the donations as listed on the agenda. Totals $3,995.64 for sponsors for the National Public Safety Telecommunicator Week activities. It will support a host of recognition and appreciation activities next week for all 911 staff. They have theme days planned for each day, along with various meals and activities throughout the week. I can't say enough about both the planning committee, Chris, Kim, and Shannon, and the work they've done. And then, as you can see, there's 35 listed items there that people outpouring of support that recognize the work they do all year long. We're so lucky to have such dedicated, good staff that deal and take with those calls day in, day out, and are really there to help people when they need it. So I think it's great that people were willing to donate and give them some nice things next week.
Yes.
So
absolutely, really great, good work by the team, and thank you to both the businesses in the community that support this. It's just a great group of people, and having had to make those calls a couple of times, there's such comfort when it's answered and you're provided help. So,
and I will move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you.
Thank you for all.
That's great. One process of order, there was an item for planning.
It got removed from the agenda. I apologize.
Okay, Okay, I wanted to make sure we didn't miss it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that takes us to agenda item 28, and I will call on Brian Ward to discuss a grant application for the sheriff's office.
Fantastic. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I know this will come as a shock to you all, but I'm going to remain strangely silent during this pitch, for lack of a better term. As we in the sheriff's office start to phase my existence out, we've promoted Assistant Chief Greg Ickler, who's going to take my position. And we're kind of sharing responsibilities here, getting them up to speed. So there's a seamless transition, which we really appreciate. And I'm just going to sit down and let him talk. You're all shocked. But
Yes. We'll come up with one question you'll have to.
no softball for me either. I put up with a lot of stuff. Good question from you guys. Don't softball anything to.
We're looking for approval to apply for a grant to get 2 rifles for our officers out on the street. Currently we have 4 of them. We can always use more. When we do training and fall qualifications, that takes a couple of them out of our rotation. We're looking at applying for a grant to get some new rifles and possibly some training out of it as well.
Any questions on that?
I have no questions.
I will move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and the next item is a capital project request for the sheriff's office. And go.
Looking for approval to purchase new firearms for all the deputies, sidearms. Currently our sidearms are at the end of life. Approximately they last about 10 years. The optics on them are tritium, so they go out after 10 years. And by the time you replace all the parts and stuff in them, it's cheaper just to buy a new sidearm. We're looking to approve for $41,000, $235.64 to acquire new firearms for the department.
Any questions on that item?
No, and I thank you for the tutorial. I had no idea that firearms had an end of life for that. So that was provided in an information session on the firearms. So thank you for that. Are there any other questions or?
No, I'll move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Too easy.
That takes us to agenda item 30.
Really?
All right, and I will call on Katie Zimmerman to discuss a grant acceptance for Veterans Affairs and Services. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning. I'm here on Keter's behalf. She really wanted to be here, but she's attending an event at Veterans Village, which will be some new housing for veterans in our community. So she's really excited to be there for that project. So I am requesting acceptance of the Veterans Trust Fund grant of $7,000. This will be used for outreach and it's very exciting as it's a competitive grant we haven't received in a couple of years.
Very good.
Any questions on?
I have none. Nope. Entertain a motion.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And with that, concludes the contract and grant section, and I'll hand it back over to Stacy.
All right, thank you, Angela. So that takes us to agenda item 31. We have Christine Bowden on Zoom to discuss a capital project request for aging and community services. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning. We would like to purchase a minivan that would replace the 2 larger vans that we have, as Brent has already stated. Their department will be purchasing one of the vans. The other van we will trade in. This we do not need that sized vans now. Trucks now, because we are no longer doing the chore program, but we're still delivering the meals and things like that. So that's why we would like to get a smaller vehicle in place of those 2 larger vehicles that we have.
Any questions for Christine?
I have none.
Nope. I will move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Christine.
Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to agenda item 32. We have Carrie Finkenbinder here to discuss a capital project request for finance. Carrie?
Good morning. So this project is to reconfigure our current classified site with the changes with the import migration. This includes remapping our current site to the new accounting structure in the new system and any changes to come when we start implementing the HR module. There's also a cost for a sandbox site, which is to store our historical data from our current site until we get out a few years, then we can remove that. And the total cost is $55,500.
And Carrie, was this all contemplated at the onset of the contract with the Lawson project that we're working on?
Yes, so we knew it was coming. We just didn't know what changes we would need to make in Classica.
Okay, okay.
Until we had that scope
We
Yeah,
had to
this
go to Westica and ask for them to provide us
Okay.
what was needed to be done.
Are you encouraged by that this will be better for the office at all, or is there any improvement that you expect to see out of this with the new?
With Plastica? No, so it's gonna be using our current site. It's just changing how, like, our account numbers are changing a little bit. So that's gonna change within Plastica, but it's not a change in the services we're using.
Not any enhancements or anything that,
The two systems talk back and forth now. We need that to continue to happen.
okay, no further integration or anything that you think is?
Not on the Westica side, it'll be all in Infor side.
Okay. Thank you. I will move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Commissioners. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Ron. Okay, that takes us then to agenda item 33. We have Chad McKay here to talk about capital project request for IMTL.
Good morning. I'm here to discuss seeking approval for the new adopted 2025 life cycle criteria. Basically what we did is we went back to the drawing board last year. We don't want to keep purchasing because it's 5 years. So we started looking at the wear and tear of stuff, the age of stuff, what stuff is needed. We were concerned about the size of the life cycle this year as well. So we were able to cut a lot of stuff, and basically the computers we're buying this year are needed instead of just wanted. The total cost of the project is $148,600, $84,200 of that is general fund.
Any questions for Chad?
I have none.
I have one question. So these are for throughout the organization, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going sort of with a one size fits all box. We're not.
Usually laptops and desktops, depending on what people get. Yeah, usually laptops are the same. We do have specialty ones. Like, for example, the judges like the little 13-inch, 14-inch models.
I was going to say, because a lot of the mini PCs are showing up in a lot of institutional places.
Yeah.
Limited capability, but they have the right capability.
Yeah. So we've started doing that, I think, with the video conferencing stuff. We started getting those mini PCs.
Yeah.
Those mini PCs are the same cost as a normal desktop. Here at Cumberland County, we really don't have a lot of desktops. That's another of the criteria we're starting to do, is assessing, do we need laptops or do we need desktops? So, but yeah, so those little mini PCs we've started purchasing just because they have less of a footprint on somebody's desk. But they're just as good as the regular size one. They may just take out like a CD-ROM drive or something like that. That's pretty much good.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Chad is actually selling himself and his staff short on this. This has been a pretty extensive project over the last year and a half.
Yeah.
We've been meeting on the capital project team. We've been talking outside of that group about really looking at what needs each department has and really what each staff member has. If we need to look at purchasing a computer with larger specs to it so that that computer lasts longer for people that have a lot of programs that are running. They've really been doing a very deep dive. They did a survey out to staff to really make sure that the computers we're buying are the computers people need, and so that they'll last longer, so that we don't have to every 5 years replace if it's not necessary. So again, really did not do your self-service, man. Very deep dive.
And it's not surprising to me now that COVID is 5 years in the rear view, that there was a rush to more laptops and now revisiting desktops as people are back in the offices. So I appreciate all the work that you guys have put into it. Thank you. And thank you, Stacy, for that update. Are there any other questions for Chad? This time we'll entertain a motion. I'll move to approve.
Sorry.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thanks, Chad. Okay, that takes us then to agenda item 34, which is Commissioners' Liaison Reports. And Commissioner Nita.
Yes, I will start. Just as I was questioned the other day when I was out and about, that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and those are the flags that you will see in the front of the courthouse facility. The blue flags represent a child that has been a victim of child abuse, and unfortunately and tragically, the two black flags represent two children that tragically died as a result of abuse. Over the past 2 weeks, Katie Zimmerman, our grant writer, and I met with Representatives Gleim and Delosier to thank them for their part in our grant, as well as to talk about some other things that we are seeking some assistance with. I attended the West Shore Chamber of Commerce Mixer last evening, and the CREDIC Policy and Pulse Speaker Series with Ryan Ahmet of Senator McCormick's office. He's trying to get a handle on operations across the footprint, and it was great to meet him and talk about what we can expect from their office in Pennsylvania here. The commissioners hosted a municipal advisory board meeting, and that's a meeting that we share items happening within the county to participants from the municipalities, and really just provide a forum for their conversation. And there's a lot of great dialogue that happens between the municipalities and sharing of ideas. Commissioner Fasci and I participated in a very fun fundraiser for Central Penn College. It was a night out to raise money for scholarships. And while we were guest bartenders, they made it quite easy for us that we had only a couple of obligations. We were not mixing fancy drinks. And the event, I think we raised in total over $20-some thousand for scholarships. And it was the inaugural event. So we were pleased to participate. We were not the winners, but Dr. Verber took home the grand prize for his team with Representative Davidson. Commissioner Fasci and I also attended a meeting hosted by Senator Kiefer, along with the 3 county commissioners from York. And it was really a wonderful dialogue. She is the newly elected senator and is very interested in hearing what our issues are that we're facing at the county. And I thought there was quite a lot of great dialogue, and my colleague may be able to discuss that as well. And it was not all about giving, say we need money. We were alerting to things that just either don't make sense in legislation or things that are costing us money, and to see if they can work a way to better those, to improve those items.
I think one of the key things that came out of that meeting was the discussion about help from the state for the region, not just for Cumberland County, not just for York County, that we are regionally incredibly important and growing in a tremendous way. So I thought that was a really good discussion and takeaway from that meeting.
And we, of course, had discussion around the costs of elections and some of the requirements that they had in the legislation that I don't even know that maybe the legislators are aware of, that are make it costly for us to administer the election. Additionally, last evening, we all attended the Emergency Services Action Panel. And I hope my colleagues will add, but from that evening, the one thing that I found most alarming was when the police chief was talking about their difficulty in recruitment and retention. I know we're facing it in our centers, but just people willing to perform that public service, being a police officer. It's alarming. The numbers as they're dwindling and people are retiring, and being able to hire young police officers. So I am encouraging any young individual that has an interest in law enforcement, please proceed with that as soon as possible. The organized meeting I had was the Ag Board meeting. There was an update on the closings. They had 2 settlements and 2 approved from the prior funding. The board took action on hiring a new solicitor after a recommendation from a committee that vetted several that applied. There was the farm ranking and selection process for the farms for 2025 was conducted. The total budget this year being allocated to ag preservation based upon carryover funds, state funding, county fund, local funding is roughly $3.6 million. They selected 9 farms for a total of 922 acres. And interestingly, there were 7 farms that applied. That was roughly about 4,600 acres that were looking to be preserved. So the strength of this program is just tremendous. There was an update provided on multiple things, but one was the donation program that had been suggested by a citizen. They've drafted a policy that's currently being under review by the solicitor. And there was discussion concerning the rebuilding of a residence on a lot that's part of the preservation program so that Stephanie could provide guidance to the owner. Farm inspections will begin next week. And the staff provided several updates around farms that are designated, that are in the protected ag program, but have rural enterprise as one of the activities. And it's raising some questions, and some discussion about the guidelines we have in place. So stay tuned on that. I think they're going to be fine tuning those a little bit more. And that was it for me on my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Felch.
Well, good morning, Cumberland County. I would remind you to use the Cumberland County Library System. We have great libraries, great books, great things to check out, DVDs, all kinds of amazing things. None of my official liaison assignments met in the past 2 weeks, which means I will be loaded for bear at our next meeting. Last week I did go to the Capitol for the Child Abuse Prevention Month planting of the flags at the Capitol. Boy, that was amazing. It's very sad. It's very heartfelt. And then I was there for the Blue Ribbon Awards to the 4 residents of Pennsylvania who do tremendous work to prevent child abuse and to assist children and families. So I was glad to be there. And I would remind you that tonight is our Victims' Rights Rally and Walk. That will be at the historic courthouse at 6:30. So maybe I'll see you there. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Michael Berger.
Yeah, just a handful of things. Of course, we had our meeting yesterday with the full departments, so we got a pretty good update from them on the current state of things. Obviously, federal funding sources are top of mind for virtually everybody. So a lot of questions to be answered on that, a lot of attention to be paid to developments in that issue. So I really don't have any updates from those agencies. They were pretty thorough in giving us current state. There is a meeting tomorrow, the advisory board for Department of Aging and Community Services. They've of course moved to quarterly format, so this will be the first one in a while. They will be looking at the application of a new member that they received, voting on that, and then referring that to us. So more on that later. The recycling folks, as Justin pointed out to us earlier today, have the household hazardous waste material collection event today. I'll stop out for a little bit on that. They last I checked in, they still had 4 spots left, but Judd said those evaporate sometimes the morning of. So if anybody's out there listening or sitting in here that wants to try, there might be room for you, but he who hesitates is lost. People forget that old song. But so the next item, the next event for that purpose is Saturday, May 31. We'll just pre-announce that. Again, 9 to 3 at the recycling center out on Claremont Road. So only other item was yesterday. We had the Affordable Housing Trust Fund board meeting. Just a couple of items from that. Let's see here. We had that was chaired by Mary Kuna, who we heard from earlier. She did some reporting to that board in regard to the discussion that she's had underway with county finance in regards to reporting, which has been a bit of a bugaboo for them for a while, and they think they're working through that, and they have a number of cumulative practices from the past that have kind of gotten passed down through the ages, and so they're taking a deep dive on some of those, trying to ensure that they're providing sufficient detail so that our folks up here in finance are able to really keep tabs on that better. For the commissioners, past practice sort of obscured some of the actuals, and their effort to correct that has been ongoing, and sounds like it's been a pretty robust effort there. So hopefully we'll be seeing those problems cleared up. We also got a report on the down payment and closing assistance program summary. we did get a summary of the program so that we could have some discussion on it. There was a review of the municipalities that have been participating in it and the recent activity. And just for real quick, the year to date, they have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 homes that since January, late January, that have been accepted for down payment. And there's, let's see, I believe there's 3 in Carlisle, 1 in Camp Hill, 1 in Mechanicsburg, and 1 in Wormleysburg. So you can see it's sort of a broad cross section of our population. That brings the total of the program since 1998, since inception, to 973 homes that were purchased using that program in this county. We have a list of it. List was provided by municipality of how many were approved through that time period. As you might guess, we had some of the highest ones were in the biggest places. So it'll be Carlisle, Dickinson Township, where there's been a lot of growth, and East Pennsboro. East Pennsboro was the #1 over that time period, 134 homes, considerable number. The lows, as you might guess, are in some of our more rural areas. Hopewell has done 4, Lower Franklin has done 4. Cook Township is at the low end of the ladder with 1, but all our municipalities matter, and it's encouraging to see that the full range of communities in Cumberland County have benefited from that program. There was also the approval on a bid for roof replacement work for a property in Enola, and considerable discussion regarding the guidelines now for the application to participate in new affordable housing. So a considerable discussion there, a couple of tweaks. They did a nice job with the draft, and that will be moving forward. So obviously the need for affordable housing remains a pretty significant issue in this county with our growth, and as it is an issue everywhere. So they are on top of it and working diligently to meet the county's goals there. I believe that's everything.
I only have one, Gary, I had participated in that meeting as well. I've been getting a lot of questions on affordable housing, and I wanted to send out a thank you. Prior to your arrival, there was some discussion surrounding the ordinance that has been operating between the redevelopment authority and and Cumberland County, and Stacy and finance. I wanted to thank you. I understand you guys are doing a deep dive that's not been addressed or reviewed since I think it was inception of 1990. So thank you very much for that work. I think there's probably a lot that can be improved in that process. So just wanted to send out
Lots of hands on deck
on that. Thank you.
I would add the household hazardous waste event today. I have been there many times checking cars in, and if you're not on the list, no one cares. Like, bring your household hazardous waste out. We would not. I'm gonna be there later. It would be so much better to bring it out. Right? We don't want it in the water. We don't want it in the groundwater. We don't want it in the trash. That's why we have the service. So no one's gonna holler at you or tell you no, just bring it out.
Well, they could. I mean, because right now it's managed by a pre-registration that was implemented a few years ago to manage the flow. So, and that was because there were a very unpredictable level of demand. But the point is well taken that there's continues to be a big demand for this. So if you're out there and you have stuff, go on the website, register for one of those spots. There's lots and lots of them. But today, get away and stuff.
Good. I think we're good.
All right, so thank you, everyone. And that takes us to agenda item 35, which is the report of executive sessions. And I would like to report that on April 3rd, 2025 at 9:30 a.m., there was an executive session regarding personnel. And now I'll ask if there is any other business to come before the board today. Hearing none and seeing none, we are adjourned.
All right, and we just need one moment to pause the YouTube recording.